guys. I'm 38, and I just bought a house. And I love my house. It's beautiful. Clapping. It's a money pit. But it's beautiful, and I love it, and it's the best thing that I ever did. And my family is really excited for me. And everything in my house is broken. And so I decided that the first thing I needed to get fixed was I wanted to have the house rewired, and so I was getting the house rewired, and my electrician seemed like a nice guy, but that was just an appearance, because he was, I'm not even going to walk down that road. Either way, I arrive at this place where everything's out of control with my electrician, and I'm on the phone with not one, not two, not three members of my family, but now four, because we've picked up a stray. So it's my mom and my dad and my sister and my brother-in-law. And my dad's like, Lex, if you need me to come up there, I'll call him. I'll give him a hard time. You know what? I'll get ethnic with him. And I'm like, please don't do that, Dad. And my mom goes, well, Lex, if you want me to call him and talk to him. And I'm like, no, Mom, don't do that. And my brother-in-law is like, you know what, I feel like the situation is, and I'm like, oh my God. And my sister goes, I'm coming up. And my sister used to be in the military. She negotiated contracts for Lockheed Martin and DOD and GE, and she just came up and bossed the shit out of my electrician. It was beautiful. And I love my family, and they're really great. And I, as many people did, have had lots of problems with them. And it's weird. I was just sitting here thinking about this, that I'm 38, and when I was 16, which is 22 years ago, if it was a child, it could drink now. But I cut my hair. It was really long. My hair was really long, and I cut it. And my parents tried to throw me out of the house because I did this. And the reason that they did that was because at the time I was a high school lesbian, and my mother would say, "It's a phase," and I would be like, "It's not a phase," but it was definitely a phase, and. Come on, ladies, you've all been there. But the whole thing unraveled like this, right? I cut my hair in the middle of the night, and then I went to school real early in the morning. Nobody had seen it. I came home, I sit down. I sit in a room with my father for a total of 20 minutes. He does not notice that all of a lot of hair is gone. My sister comes home, and she looks at me, and she's like, and I'm like, yeah, he doesn't know. Don't tell him. And my mom gets home, and I've been, at this point, she's been home for another 20 minutes, and she hasn't noticed. And she's like, Tony, do you see she's cut her hair? And my parents freak out. And they freak out because they've decided that, my cutting my hair is this part of this lesbian high school phase, and that I am declaring to the world that I'm a lesbian, which was kind of what I was doing. A little bit. But it was also hair and not a face tattoo, and they should probably have let it go. It very quickly descended into my parents screaming at me, and then they threw me out of the house, or they told me they were throwing me out of the house, and level-headed teenage lesbian that I just started packing my bags, and I was like, I'll go and stay with this family that I babysit for. And they'll let me stay there, and things will work out, and it will be no big deal. And my father's hovering over me going, your mother's crying, and it's your fault. You have to leave. And I was like, all right. So, and then my sister is like, she's just 15 years old. You can't throw her out of the house. And my father's like, fine, you can go too. And I'm just like, how did this turn into everyone's in this together? So my sister is packing up her stuff and proceeding to yell at my father because, she's bossier than me. And And she grabs the keys to the car, and my father's like, you can't take my car if you're gonna leave. Give me my keys. And my sister's like, fine. And she throws them, and they arc through the air, and they brush against his hand, and he loses his mind. And he grabs her, and he pins her down, and he's literally strangling my sister. And her face starts to turn blue, and my mother and I are just standing there, and we are like paralyzed in total fear. And my sister, ever the stalwart, looks at my father and says, if you don't get off me, I will have the cops on you so fast it'll make your head spin. So the cops come, and I stopped paying attention to the light, I'm sorry. The cops come, and the whole thing gets settled, and we stay, and it's no big deal in the end. And it's like not a thing that ever happened again. It wasn't a thing that will ever happen again. But it was one of those things where it's like, I have to remember now that I can, as much as things were like crazy when I lived with them when I was younger, that we're all like older, and we've kind of organized our relationships differently. And even though things got crazy when I cut my hair, I can still depend on them now when things get hairy. Thanks.